Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gathering of Gachas, the only podcast that focuses exclusively on the games your parents don't want you to play. I'm Galen, the SoundGuy Firestone.
I'm Ranakel.
And I'm Dez.
And he's Dez. Before
You
we begin,
really are.
Yeah, before we begin, I just want to say a little thing. I know the world is, like, really crazy right now. I just want you to know we love you guys. Stay safe, take care, and we will all get through this thing, all right?
I think there's a lot of panic going around.
Yeah.
That's rather unnecessary.
I very much agree. But I don't want to go criticizing right now. I just want to say, just keep your heads on, be safe, be kind to your fellow man. Let's talk about video games.
Sounds good, because in France, lockdown was announced.
Same in California.
Great. If that's what it takes to make the hospital able to swallow that influx of patients correctly, that's what I'll respect.
I'm fine with it. It's annoying, but I will live until this crisis passes, and it will pass.
I'll take a bit of annoyance for the pleasure of not killing people with sickness.
Agreed, especially since I have immunocompromised friends and I really don't want them to get this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is a game, I believe.
It is a game. It is a game. What have we learned about this game this week? Anything? What the heck happened this week?
Well, as my intro suggested, there's an FF10 event.
Oh, that's what that was!
Yes, it was at Tidus Laugh to celebrate the arrival of Star Player Tidus.
Got it. Okay. Yeah,
So I guess you were very confused for like 2-3 minutes.
Oh,
right?
I was like, what is he doing? Yeah, no.
Okay. Glad we cleared that up.
I never played 10, so I didn't get the reference, but I figured it was a reference.
Oh, I'm sure there's a ton of people that get the reference without even having played 10 ever.
Yeah, I'm just going to point out one thing about that scene that no one seems to remember. Yes, that laugh was corny and bad, but that was actually the point, because Tidus was, like, forcing them to laugh.
It was entirely deliberate. It's a great scene in context.
Yeah. It's like the Khan yell from Star Trek 2. It was supposed to be big and over the top because he was tricking Khan.
Exactly.
Spoiler for a 30-year-old movie. Good luck with that.
James Arnold Taylor did a great job.
He is a great actor.
FF10 event. So we have Star Player Tidus, which is the CG unit. We have Yunalesca. We have Isaru. And we have Kimahri as the 3 5-star unit that will not get immediately on the bench.
Yeah, I have heard in no uncertain terms... Well, I don't want to say in no uncertain terms, but I've heard arguments that Kimahri is actually the best base 5 here.
Yeah. But let's start with the star player.
Sure, let's take a look at him.
So, he's a physical attacker.
Mm-hmm.
He's got, as far as gear go, a good old TMR that's true double hand, bonus, a bit of attack, a bit of LB gauge, and water resistance.
That is a real scattershot of a TMR. Like, everything on it is pretty good, but like... Yeah. Everything on it is pretty good, just nothing is like... Nothing's best in slot in and of itself.
Exactly, it's the kind of TMR you never chase for, but you're happy to have it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then we have the STMR, which is definitely more of a powerhouse.
It's just a big honking sword.
It's a big honking water sword with LB damage.
Very nice.
And then as far as the unit goes, well, it's a bit of a split unit of sorts. On one hand, you've got the chaining, which thankfully, while he does have a quick hit as one of a chaining family, it's just on one attack, and for the rest, he's mostly a Stardust Ray chainer.
I mean, it'd be very silly if Tidus, the guy who basically invented quick hit chaining, didn't have quick hit.
Exactly. So they have it as a reference. So for quick hits, and there's quick hit there. For people that actually have fingers, it's Stardust Ray.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's
for people that actually have fingers. Yes. Chaining quick hit by hand was hard.
It was. I did it. I mained lightning for a while, but yeah, it was bad.
So he has mostly an ability to water imbue and break, but he has fire and wind imbues in his back pocket too, which is pretty nice.
It's nice, but when your best slot is a water weapon, that's a little iffy.
Yeah, I think the main interest is mostly if you have, say, a King Rain as your other main attacker and you want to chain with him, you can fire chain with Tidus and King Rain.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right.
And
never say no to a little versatility, man.
No.
Yeah. And he has mostly normal modifiers, except on turn 5, where he has one attack that's Energy Rain Plus, that is enormous. 6 times modifier with Ignore Death, except the last hit, which is 24 with 50% Ignore Death.
That is big. I remember Energy Rain.
Since it's Stardust Ray.
I remember Energy Rain. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Energy Rain on old Tidus AoE and this one's single target?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that was his one easy to use AoE skill. And of course he has a double cast at the start, triple cast unlockable via his LB. As a CG protagonist, he can use his LB at the start. And once he does that, he unlocks 3 skills. One is a bit of a support, which buffs some of his moves and gives a huge refresh to all allies. 150 MP per turn. But most importantly is the second kind of Tidus you can make, which is thanks to physical training.
Right.
The third LB skills you unlock, which give 200% damage boost to his LB and instantly refills it.
And can't be dispelled.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just don't let him die.
Just don't let him die.
So he seems pretty straightforward. Either you use your big Stardust Ray chain and your biggest Stardust Ray chain when you can, or you use his LB as basically it's 1 turn LB buff, 1 turn LB. And there you go. Conveniently, if you use the LB buff, you still have 2 of your 3 quick strike attacks you can devote to things like his breaks, his imbues, and the likes.
Oh, right. He gets multicast, and that's going to be on the multicast list.
Exactly.
That's the part I didn't get. Like, my brain was translating that as he was like a 1 turn on, 1 turn off sort of character.
Yeah. And he still can do that, but even his turn off and completely off.
Yeah. Okay.
The fact that that's on that quick hit, on that triple quick strike list is really big.
Yeah, that's actually gigantic for him. He is really solid. He doesn't excite me, but he is solid.
Yeah. And it's nice to have someone who can be both a chainer in a relevant chain family and a finisher, because his LB is only 1 strike.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd say Tidus is not indispensable, but solid.
Yeah, if you get him, he'll do good for you. Next up, we have Yunalesca, a character with just as much use as she has modesty.
Exactly.
She is bad, y'all.
Starting with her TMR, we have 43 magic, 43 spirit accessory, which gives you disease and petrify immunity.
Okay, sure.
That is a great TMR for a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Basically.
The STMR is good, though. It's 60% magic, 40% Evomag, 30% evoke damage, and 40% Esper bonus stats.
So give this to Citra, is what I'm reading here.
Or it can also have a bit of a side utility because of the Esper bonus stat as a way to push you just a little bit over the normal stat cap if you already have your magic maxed out and your true dual wield or true double hand maxed out.
Sure. She has some evoke moves on here. She has a Chaos Wave awakened 18 times evoke move for 2 orbs. She's not... Like, she has a couple of moves, but...
I think her best use, besides the Chaos Wave Awaken itself, is the fact that she has one cooldown which she can use on turn 1, Yevon's Protection, which autofills the evoked gauge for this turn and for the next turn, which is convenient for Esper Summon missions.
Yes. She definitely has that utility, if nothing else. Gotta be honest. Yunalesca is one of the most...
that's dual or triple castable.
Yeah.
Is nice.
I gotta be honest. Yunalesca is one of the worst units I've seen in a while. Like, I don't see any reason to use her other than that one utility of those missions.
She clearly is the Hane of this banner.
Yeah. She's utterly unexciting and not very good, and is instantly comparable to existing units who do the same job but better. With the exception of the whole fill your gauge over and over again and get your Esper missions out fast thing. That is neat. That's useful to have.
Yeah. Also of note, her spray doesn't have fireflies on it, while Tidus's does. At 7 stars, anyway.
Okay, spoiler for FF10. He wasn't dead. He was something different. So he shouldn't have fireflies at all.
Fireflies are pretty, I guess.
They are. But that makes no sense.
Yeah, and it would on Yunalesca.
Was she unsent, or was she just there?
Yeah,
it's been a long time since I played the game. I didn't like FF10 very much, but I recall her being something other than unsent. Like, I recall her being, like, functionally immortal.
I'm not sure. Maybe it was just that she wasn't unsent traditionally, but bound to the place.
Something like that, yeah. Neither of them should have fireflies. What?
So, lore, I said.
Lore. Yeah, I don't get it. Tidus should not have fireflies. That's incorrect.
That's strength like that.
Yeah, that's flat out wrong. He was point blank to several of Yuna's summoning dances and was fine.
So, let's move on to Kimahri,
the we're talking.
Unit.
Now we got the big cat. Blue magic, y'all.
Yeah, so you get him for free, then you can farm the event to get his 7-star form and his STMR and his TMR Muggles. And it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
TMR is HP, attack, and magic 30% and an LB gauge fill.
Which is
really solid for hybrid units.
Yeah, really solid. Very, very happy with that. And then the Spirit Lance feels a little weird for him because it's attack and jump damage. And I'm like, that should go to like Sid or Aradia or something. Like, this feels weird.
Yeah, it's definitely a great SCMR, mostly for other units.
Yeah. That's not really what I'd give to him, considering he's a mage, effectively.
I mean, he does have one jump move.
Yeah. It's the whole... Oh, actually, it's a very interesting jump move because it does damage, and then it also does delayed damage, so it doesn't actually lose his turn.
No, he has 2 jump moves.
Oh,
because of blue magic.
Blue magic has another one.
His other jump move is technically a magic.
What?
Yeah. The way it works...
Why does he have a regular jump as a blue magic?
Because he had a regular jump as a blue magic in the game.
Oh, did he? I thought his jump was just...
Sounds fair to me.
All right, whatever. Fine, cool. I have no response to this. That's just weird. Down,
but
that's
how it worked.
Go FF10.
Okay, so the way the blue magic aspect works first, because it's a bit unusual. So you get the usual weight progression where you get EPs eventually leading to having rewards such as tickets and 4-star, 5-star units and the likes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you get Kimahri, and that's also how you get keys. You use keys to unlock special stages, and if you clear the stage with Kimahri, you'll get the blue magic.
He just has to be in your team, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's very simplistic compared to every other Final Fantasy game, but I kind of don't mind.
Yeah. As I haven't unlocked one myself, I want to be sure I'm not sure yet if he's literally required to be in your party to clear the stage or to challenge the stage at all, because that's how it works in the main story for Blue Mage Finest Blue Magic.
Right.
Finn. But honestly, why wouldn't you run the stage with him anyway? Because they literally exist for that.
Yeah, that's literally the whole point. Yeah, there's some good stuff on here. I like how Mighty Guard works on this a lot.
Even before the blue magic, let's go over his kit, because it's tiny, but it's there. So we have a jump and a cooldown. We have 70% break for any of the stats, but no dual cast abilities, so that's a panic button at best.
Yeah.
We have Untrust as a really solid utility, especially since he has only 30 crits to load his LB, which is very reasonable.
Only 30. I've never found that to be all that good, to be perfectly honest with you. 30 is quite a bit.
This time most LBs are like 36, so that's a little bit of a rebate. And the LB itself is a 5-turn 70% break with magic damage.
Right.
And he also has, as maybe one of his main utility, full party mirage for 2 attacks.
Yeah, that is excellent.
Yeah,
that is fantastic.
It can be spammed every turn, and a lot of bosses can be cheesed by doing just that.
Yeah, I remember how good Sarah was, and she was a base 3 5-star max.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Kimahri's got the stats to back up his utility, so
yeah,
that's certainly nice in that respect.
Definitely.
Sleep, Confuse, Petrify, Immunity, even 3 units get some decent resists. And yeah, he's a blue magic. He's got fire magic damage, non-elemental magic damage, a Petrify, water magic damage, a normal jump.
A darn good heal.
Yeah. Basically, Kiraja with a big regen attached on it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Kiraja with not quite a Kiraja level regen, but pretty close.
Yeah. And some more elemental status, and some defensive buffs, including fire, lightning, and water resist.
Yeah. Gotta be honest, his kit seems kind of tiny and kind of weird, but I actually think there's a ton of utility here. And for a free unit especially, like, if you are a new player, get Kimahri.
Absolutely.
And do all of his quests.
Yes, like, do not skimp on the big cat. He is good at his job.
He is. Also, Kimahri can equip guns. Which is a funny mental picture.
That is a really funny mental picture. Then again, I think I know what this is a reference to. Final Fantasy XIV, the Gunbreaker trainer is a cat guy.
It is.
Yeah.
Now you mention it. But Gunblades are a great sword.
That is true.
In this game. Yeah.
That is true. Still, it is part gun.
It is.
No,
Pad gun, pad blade, Gunblade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and Isaru exists, and he has EvoMag 20 as his TMR.
Just flat Evo Mag 20?
No, it also fills the Evo gauge by 1 or 2 ranks every turn.
Alright, so, sure. File that one under sure.
Yeah.
Isaru exists. Congratulations on him existing.
Yeah.
God, I used to be so happy when FFBE would put in these, like, weird characters. Like,
yeah,
Lonnie.
like Isaru isn't exactly on the forefront on that.
No, he isn't. Lonnie is usually my biggest example of this. Random character from FF9 who got, like, 0 screen time. She was just sort of there, and she gets a character in this game. And now I'm just like, because the meta is where it is, I just,
Yeah, it's like you take the unit, you turn it upside down. Do you have anything in your pockets? No, then get out, nerd.
Pretty much. That's a shame. God, I wish FFBE would figure that out. But, you know, at the same time, hey, like, just from a strictly nostalgia aspect, I don't remember Isaru being a particularly bad character. Galaddy's got a thing.
I think, honestly, the feature we really lack to actually pay attention to the 4-star characters is the 3 and 4-star only trials.
Yeah. Yeah, if that was a thing that existed, they'd be a lot more, like, you need to look into this. And we'd see some powerful comebacks. Soleil would probably make a comeback in a hurry for that, because I'm pretty sure she's still the top 4-star buffer.
Speaking of powerful comebacks, thank you for the transition. We also have some latent abilities for Auron and Lulu.
Okay. Auron, I remember, was extremely solid. I used him pretty much up till I stopped playing the game.
Yeah. So he has, he's still very usable.
Sure.
And now he has an 80% all-stat breaks on a 4 times cooldown.
That's
the 80% break weighs down a little, but it also unlocks his triple cast.
Oh, okay.
And it's 40 times absolute mirror of equity chain. For good measure, you know.
Sure.
Might as well at this point.
So it's a hard break, a hard attack, and it unlocks his triple cast.
Yeah.
That move is awesome.
It is. And then we have his passive, which is more HP, more MP, more attack, more defense, more spirit, more LB damage, auto LB gauge fill 6 per turn, increased modifier by 34 to some of his main chaining moves, and by 15 to some others. It's
That's a passive?
Yeah.
Talk about
Did they miss anything? Did they
Yeah, no, like his his wind and fire chaining moves. No, there are 40 times modifier.
Wow. All right. Yeah, that's a humongous upgrade.
Good Lord.
Yeah, well, they wanted Auron to be the most awesome character in FF10, just like he was the most awesome character in FF10.
Yeah.
Good for him.
No, like,
wow.
I would have spent the enlightenment point only for the LB gauge fill.
Yeah.
And the rest is just a lot and a lot and a lot of icing on the cake.
Yeah, at that point you have borderline more icing than cake. You just completely revitalized him. That is a 100% usable unit.
Sounds like one of my aunt's chocolate cakes. More icing than cake.
So
I hate that. Like, that much icing, it's like, it makes my stomach go all agita.
And I haven't used a lot of enlightenment points recently, so I think it's time for 2B to see the bench a little.
No.
Aww.
Hey, it's Auron's time to shine. I've had him for a while now and was like, yeah, but I still have this perfectly fine 2B at home.
Yeah.
And so does Galen, judging by the visual where he took his 2B figures and patted her on the head.
It did have to happen sometime. Like,
did it though?
That is unfortunately the nature of this game.
2B and A2D latents. All right. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can totally see them coming back to the forefront when they get theirs.
Especially the amount of upgrades they're willing to give people. That was what you just described on Auron was absolutely nuts.
Yeah. And also, it's crazy to remember that when the banner originally launched and there were 6-star max units, A2 was the real prize, and 2B was kind of like, oh, she's there too.
Yeah, well, that was also when A2 was a global original and just kind of did everything 2B did, but better.
Well, she mostly did damage and had... I mean, her main interest was that she had her berserk damage buff that could be stacked with normal damage buffs.
Yes. That was a huge difference for her. And she had a really cheap LB back then, too. It was like 20-something.
Exactly. A shame her quick hit was even harder to chain than normal quick hits because she moved.
Yeah, that was bad. I struggled to make it work, but then 7-star happened. Did they ever get enhancements, by the way?
I don't think they did.
Okay, so at some point, hopefully there's yet another near event to bring these two back to the forefront where they belong. Because
here's hoping.
Love the bots. Y'all know we love the bots around here.
Yeah. Now, the other unit that has enhancement is Lulu.
Who was sadly disappointing on pretty much every level. I've never heard someone say good things about Lulu across her entire existence.
I did, actually. Apparently, that's kind of powerful. I haven't crunched the numbers personally or anything, but given that she has her enhancements already and now has her enlightenment, the modifier increases especially are pretty interesting.
Okay.
So she has a new cooldown, which is a 120% water resistance break for 6 turns, which grants her triple black magic for 7 turns.
Okay.
And it increases for the same amount of turns had her Flood and Wedging Mortar attacks, which are 2 main chaining moves.
Right, though Flood is a very weird frame family at this point.
And oh wait, I said chaining moves. Raging Water isn't chaining. I confused it with the freeze that originally wasn't chaining but became chaining with enhancement for Christine, I think. No, for Medina.
What are you talking about?
Medina's enhancement.
Medina.
Okay. You said like 14 different characters there, and I had really a lot of trouble following along.
Yeah, no, it's just that Medina had Raging Ice, which was a single-hit ice move that got changed to a chaining move.
Right, that was that weird, like, they called it something else. It was like Zoblizra or something like that. They really took the Shin Megami Tensei way of making spell names on that one.
They really did. So yeah, and her passive is increased stats all around. HP, MP, magic, 60%, defense, spirit, single-willed and dual-willed, LB damage, it's still bad, and Flare Fury, which has a 30 times increased modifier. That's her cooldown, which already has some Spirit Ignore in it.
There you have it. I mean, cool.
So, she's usable as a mage, But of course, given all of the mages that came out recently, she's not exactly the kind of character you should chase after or anything.
No.
And you actually can do that because they have a special banner for the FF10 old units.
Cool.
Cool.
I mean, really, Jack and Auron are the only ones you want at this point, I think.
Yeah. And it's nice to have an option for Auron in particular because good breakers aren't nearly as common as good attackers.
Yeah, no kidding. And if Auron is so good, we're talking about benching 2B, like, alright.
I mean, Auron is literally the best breaker in the game. He hasn't got the highest breaks in the game, but it takes definitely a lot of build to be able to make King Edgar work.
Yeah. King Edgar, really, really good breaks. Really, really big pain to actually utilize.
Exactly. Because it needs to be in low HP to trigger it in the first place, and then it's only a 2-turn break that's tied to his LB.
Fun.
So yeah, overall, this this banner is pretty good when it comes to a banner in a vacuum, but most of the prizes you're going to get are like the old Tidus. Thank you for coming, and yeah, it's not exactly the kind of banner I'd use, except if there was a big nostalgia factor.
I mean, the old Tidus does have his STMR, which does the whole Esper stats thing. So if you're at that cap, true. You can use that the same way you can use Yunalesca's.
True. But I know I sure won't use it because I like FF10 a lot, but there was a lot of good banners recently, and I'm not spent actually between the Lapis pools and the missions. I haven't even cleared the latest main story chapter, and I'm already back at like 15,000 Lapis.
Wow. Well done.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's not that I'm completely dry, but you know, it's I like to actually use the units I've recently gotten.
Very, very, very understandable.
I mean, if you're always pulling and never using the units that you've pulled for, it doesn't make much sense.
No.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, however, that is a failing of gacha games in general, because a lot of people do exactly that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And lastly, I say, of course, with a new CG unit, we have a series boss battle, but there wasn't one for FF11, actually.
And really?
And it took this one to make me realize this, but there wasn't any FF11 series boss battle.
Huh.
There is, however, braska's final aeon here, and the worst part of this trial is that the music in the background is not overworld.
I have a theory about that, actually.
Oh, do tell.
So I've talked about this on Discord a couple of times, but Otherworld is one of the very rare one of the very rare songs that, despite it being written by Nobuo Uematsu, actually did bring in an outside band to perform it. It was not an in-house group of musicians, and it wasn't licensed the usual way. I have a feeling
I always wondered about that.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this is a licensing thing, and that either Square didn't reach out to, or they couldn't secure performance rights for that song to be, publishing rights, not performance, publishing rights for that song to be reutilized.
Interesting.
Because of the outside performer situation. There was one other instance of that happening, and I think it was like one of the versions of Eyes on Me had that similar thing because they brought in an outside singer, and the licensing wasn't in place, and there was something else later that they couldn't use it on. It's not a thing that happens very often with them, but if I had to guess, I'd think that would be the reason why that occurred.
Doesn't sound implausible.
Contracts and licensing are a whole thing, y'all, in the music world, and I say that from experience. Oh, man.
I could hear the capital T to thing.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had to guess why, that's why they ditched Otherworld when they're totally willing to play other songs, even in story. That song in particular stands out as kind of an anomaly in Square soundtracks in general, so it makes sense in my mind that could be a thing, that could be a factor.
You do work in the industry, so...
It's a rocking anomaly, if I ever heard one.
No, it really is. No, it's a great song. I probably, it's one of the reasons why I'm a metalhead today. There were a lot of them, but it definitely factors in there somewhere.
Exactly.
But
and as far as the boss is himself, well, he has Jack's subtlety for sure. Like, he's got an AoE attack, a big AoE attack, and an MP drain.
If I've heard this right, Kimahri effectively just nullifies this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it works, because otherwise his big AoE attack he does every 3 turns is 64 modifier on his 2000 plus attacks with a plus 999% accuracy. So you're not going to dodge tank it.
So yeah, you either need nullification or...
re-raise.
Yeah. And if you just have it on demand, oh yeah, you can't hit anything now, that really helps.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Yeah, this whole thing, just much like Aeon, much like Braska's final Aeon, this whole thing just feels a little underwhelming. Just because, I don't know, nothing about this FF10 banner really sings to me in any real way. It seems workable, I guess.
Yeah, the buffs are decent.
Yeah. Auron is, like usual, the best thing about FF10. It's not really new.
And Kimahri is, as unusual, pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, literally my 2 favorite characters in that game are arguably the 2 best ones. Then there's Jack, who's also awesome, theoretically.
Yeah, and he was enhanced last week.
Right.
Along with Tifa, which has a water-type chainer, is very good against Braska's final Aeon as an aside. Because she has water weakness.
Yeah. I don't think there's much here left to talk about, so...
Indeed.
Well, Rana just walked us through one game featuring an undead sorceress. Let's move on to the next one. What the heck is a Black Valkyrie, and what is it doing in Valkyrie Anatomia?
Funny you ask. The Black Valkyrie is a Valkyrie character slotable in the Valkyrie slot in your party. That's what the wiki says.
That's real handy. That tells me so much about this. How about you do what the wiki won't and tell us what the heck is actually going on?
Oh, I was going to close the Valkyrie Anatomia section for the week, but okay, I guess. So, let's take it back for the beginning. We have the second part of Melody of the Captive, and that's the only event that's on right now. The only new event anyway, of course, because part 1 is still there. And it's a pretty short one. It only has 3 stages instead of the normal 5.
What the heck is this Valkyrie Anatomia slowing down its content roll? I'm kind of impressed.
I'm as confused as you are, honestly.
Yeah.
But mostly I'm busy trying to grade my gems for a last-ditch attempt at a 2B pool.
Good luck.
Thank you. It turns out that last time Isaria and Lenef were working together, fighting together, fighting against each other to figure out what the hell was going on with the anomaly and why it was specifically targeting Lenef's and her yards.
Right.
And turns out it's because the anomaly is Valkyrie, who instinctively thinks her duty is to assemble an areas, and does so by targeting those that are wandering around in the Seraphic Gate.
Okay.
And the Black Valkyrie is driven, but also very confused about who she is, why she exists, what is she doing, why is she doing it, what's her goal when she does what she wants to do. And basically, Lenneth pities her for a little while and then coldly executes her.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, that's your event.
Just bye-bye Black Valkyrie.
Yeah. I'm sure this will have implication later on, but for now it's like, wow, that's messed up.
For right now, it's you are the weakest link, goodbye.
Very much so.
Okay. Well, that's refreshingly direct, to be honest.
Yeah. And as far as the unit goes, so, besides being a Valkyrie character selectable on the Valkyrie slot on your party, she's a lightning expected swordswoman.
Lightning aspect, okay.
Yeah, and she does tons of damage and tons of purify damage. Very much a current generation unit.
I assume a version of Nibelung Valesti.
Exactly. Her orb makes her a crit healer.
Ooh. Lightning as an element has a lot of that.
Yeah, that seems to be one of the physical attacker's gimmick.
Okay.
For lightning. And as far as her attack style goes, I like a lot that she's got the floaty shields that are on Lenneth's original sprite.
But yeah, that one, and then you also got the floaty shields in Lenneth the Creator as well.
Yeah.
Although she used those to reflect laser beams, so that was actually really neat.
Exactly. But mostly they are kind of there a lot of the time, and here she actually mostly uses them to wake people up with them.
To wake people up?
No, to hit them.
Oh, okay. I'm like, it sounded like you said wake people up, and I'm like...
No, I said whack. W-H-A-C-K.
Whack. Got it.
Whack.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
Yes. I am a very sensible, full person.
You are, but you also have a very thick accent, which can cause problems at times.
I do. So, yeah, that's a unit. It's good. It's... I mean, it's hard to stay attached to a unit we saw in all of 3 stages and then died.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling the pull on this one. I had a similar thing happen. I'm going to do this thing that I've been doing and compare it to FF14. Like, there was a character who showed up. I liked this character. Then they stopped, and I'm like, well, this is pointless. Congratulations, you just wasted my time. I don't need to care about anything that just happened. Great. Next. Cool villain. Bye. I don't care about you. You don't matter. See you around.
Yeah. But given the game and the fact that it happened in the Seraphic Gate, there's a very real possibility that it will all make sense eventually, and most likely tied to the Arbiter 3 storyline somehow.
Probably.
Because that's where all storylines are going these days.
Yeah, it sounds like that's kind of become the main thoroughfare of the plot. Or at least the event plots.
Because it at least gives her screen time.
I love it. I love it. She needs it so badly. I hated that Covenant of the Plume reduced her to a joke character. I really hated that her first appearance in this game continued that trend.
Yeah. They've redeemed that joke, I think. I still have the how to be a main character manual in my inventory.
Oh, so do I. Well, I say that despite not having an inventory anymore, but I did when I still played the game.
Yeah. So as for the other thing that was added to the game, it's a feature, and it's PvP.
No, why? Gah.
We already had the Divine Ascension, which was a bit of a asynchronous, get your characters in there and they will be matched automatically with people out of your sight. But that didn't feel like PvP, so now Tyr's Battle Arena actually feels like PvP. It has weird rule sets that change it from the main game. Like every turn you only have a single attack which gets randomly chosen from the character's moveset. You have a random chance to activate your weapon skill instead of having it usable at will.
Okay.
But other than that, it's just hit the other party and kill them before they kill you.
Sounds like an arena to me.
So yeah. PvP with RNG. Hooray.
Pretty much.
Two of Galen's favorite things.
Yay.
And from that you get ranking, which increases your end-of-season reward. We don't know the end-of-season rewards yet because it's not the end of the season yet, of course. But for each fight you fight, you also gather Fruits of Idun.
Yeah,
with bonus depending on things like imbued unit and if most of your party has the potential board mostly unlocked, which is a strange condition.
Yeah, I don't... Wow, that's a grind. Yeah, God forbid Valkyrie should actually give any players information in advance. That would almost be too nice of them.
Yeah. But at least the rewards you get from the Fruits of Idun you trade in are pretty good. You got tons of items. You get bundles and XP and XP enhancement items that were previously paid only and give you enhancement, even Odin medals.
Oh, wow.
You finally have a way to get Odin medals outside of the Valhalla defense. And of course, some summon tickets for good measure.
Sure, but how often have those been useful?
A couple of times, at best.
Fair enough.
Ouch.
Sorry, I said I would stop doing this last week, but I'm so jaded on Valkyrie.
That's fair. It certainly did some pretty petty things to earn that scorn.
It did. It really did.
But the PvP is not a money thing, so there's that.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll have plenty to talk about regarding money things later on in this episode.
Oh boy.
So brace for it. But for now, yeah, can't wait for Valkyrie Anatomia. And I think we'll continue to talk about Can Weeks. Because apparently everything is dead or on lockdown and nothing new comes out anymore besides Blitzball players. So yeah, point is, let's talk about Arknights.
What's going on in Arknights? The exact same thing that's going on between Tidus's ears. Nothing. Yeah, this is a really, really quiet week. We have a repeat banner with Hoshiguma on it. Hey, she's a great 6-star tank.
Hoshiguma and Liskarm, both of whom are really good tanks.
Liskarm is a great tank, only a 5-star, but really great tank herself. I don't have Liskarm, so I can't really comment, but I've heard good things.
I have her, she's good.
Yeah, we're still kind of working our way through Chapter 5 and through Extreme Mode. And then we had some login rewards, and we're going to have some more login rewards starting tonight/tomorrow. Yeah, Geister in the chat says this banner is probably one of the best you could pull on if you don't have a good tank yet. That is very true.
Agreed. Two very solid tanks on the same banner.
Hoshiguma was my second ever 6-star, the one who's basically never left my party.
And good tanks are something you need in pretty much every single game.
Yeah, there's very, very few stages in which a good tank is not usable. And generally speaking, those stages are ones where you can only deploy ranged units for whatever reason.
Turns out, keeping enemies in place so you can kill them is pretty good.
Yeah, the hammer and anvil strat really works, especially if you have good AoE or good range in general. It's a strat that works.
One thing about Liskarm, she actually has kind of an AoE attack that you can use that does arch damage, coincidentally, and has a chance to stun the enemies that are hit.
Oh, that's really cool.
Just small. Yeah. So,
all right.
It does stun her whenever it finishes, so you want to make sure that there are no units up against her, like that you kill everything there by the time her thing finishes. Otherwise, they'll just walk right through her, because if they're stunned, they're not going to be blocking.
Yeah.
So there is a downside to it, but if you use it well, then it's certainly gonna do you some favors.
Yeah, no, this is a good banner if you don't already have tanks. If not, just do your single pulls up to the bonus 5 or 6 star and then move on with life. I already had Hoshiguma and Saria. I have, like, the tank team, so it kind of made no sense for me to do more than anything. And I ended up getting a Repeat Ifrit, which is cool for the cost reduction, but isn't really the most high priority thing I could have gotten, obviously. Yeah, other than that, there's just really not much to say about Arknights. We're in a very kind of quiet lull. I think we're getting due for another big event.
Yeah, I would say probably pretty soon, within the next maybe 2-3 weeks, something like that.
Hopefully. I'd hope so. I
will say there's something to be said for these more calm times, because I know in FFBE in particular, I have some good trails to catch up to, and the main story that I still have to complete, but there's events every week which demand stamina, a lot of them, and it's hard sometimes to figure out the time, either will or stamina-wise, to make room for the permanent content, because you're thinking, well, this one is not going to go away anyway, and eventually it pays up.
Yeah, that is true, and having these lulls in Arknights is incredible, especially since in Arknights, upgrading characters is a massive undertaking.
Yes, it is.
I have been working on getting Siege to Elite 2 for, like, the last week and a half, I think. And I'm finally, like, all I need is money now, and I've been grinding that up.
I will say they're not, like, we haven't been... For a lot of events, they're giving, like, 1 or 2 100 sanity potions per day.
Yeah.
And since we're in this lull right now, we're not getting those, and it feels like you
really feel
the
that
loss of those pots, because the sanity refill in this game is slow.
This whole game is just a really... It is not for the impatient.
No.
That's one thing I've learned about Arknights. It is not for the impatient. You need to have that. You need to have that. In a way,
that kind of makes it good as a side game.
Yeah. No, it's very good to just pick up and just do for a few minutes and then put back down. And then obviously when you want to play really hard, and I'll be talking about this during our main topic, when you want to play really hard, it's very, very engaging. But yeah, if you just want to pick it up and do, like, a thing or two, yeah, it just works. It just works like that. Pick it up, do your autos, put it back down, you're done.
Yeah, and as a side game, like Rana mentioned, it's great also because, again, you can auto the stages. You don't actually have to do anything.
Yeah.
Okay, I want this to...
And it doesn't feel like the game is just playing itself and doesn't need you, because you still have to do the first clear to set up the auto.
Oh, yeah. No, it will actually, like, do a, it'll actually do, I think it's on what we call in music a MIDI roll, and actually every tick, it will go like, this happens, this happens, this happens, and it copies your strat exactly. It's not a full auto. So if you have the auto can mess up. Like, it's not a perfect recreation, obviously, so if you're doing things with pinpoint timing, you're probably in trouble. So, like, you do have to pay attention to that. And I've made a point to actually redo my auto strats from time to time for a couple of reasons. It will always use the current version of your units regardless of what you used the first time. So if you upgraded a unit since then and they now cost more, well, now all of a sudden you have a desync of 2 seconds. That's going to add up. So it's worthwhile to go back and replay the stages on occasion. It's a great game, but it's very, very difficult to play hard, especially on weeks like this one, where you're just not getting a whole lot of... You're not getting a whole lot of playtime.
And even... It's almost whale unfriendly as far as playing goes. because there's a limit to the number of times that you can use your Originite Prime, the premium currency, in order to refill your sanity. So you can only do it. I want to say it's like 10 times per day. You might be able to get an increase at some point, but normally I think it's 10 times per day.
I hear in chat Gay Sager is going 10 times a day. Yes, I know. Believe me.
Yeah, I've noticed with the amount of E2s she posts, it's really kind of incredible how much growth I've seen just following the Twitter and just going like, how do you have the resources for all this? Now we know the answer. Burning primes. I burnt most of my primes doing pulls for Chen, which finally paid off.
Hey, she's a really solid unit. I'm using her in the second Lungman Annihilation.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Chen hits so hard above her weight class. Like, I have her, like, E140 something, and she's doing absurd damage even now. I don't have her anywhere near top of the game.
I have her at E2, obviously.
God.
And she can almost one-shot the the big guys that I'm coming up against who have high armor.
Yeah. She is just absolutely ridiculous how much damage output she has. Normally I'm not in this game a fan of like just the pure melee damager, but if you need one, even if you don't need one, I put her in places where I would usually put a tank. She kills things so quick, she just doesn't take that much damage.
Yep.
I mean, the best tanking is all the damage you don't take because the enemy's dead.
Pretty much.
Basically, yeah. That's Shen's policy. Although she's a block, she is a block 2, unlike a lot of melee units who are maybe block 1. And she can do AoE damage, she can stun, or she can have a massive nuke.
Yeah, and that massive nuke can also double as an AoE because every hit, it's 10 hits, and every hit will, like, if you kill the thing, it'll just retarget onto the next enemy. Which is amazing.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, we keep gushing about her because she's worth gushing about. I am so happy I have her. You have no idea. She is absurd and so worth it.
I have some idea.
Yeah, you do. I think, I don't know, I think everyone basically got her. I know you got her, I think Rai got her, I know Geister finally got her. I think everyone I know who plays this game. I think we've hit the wall on what we could talk about for Arknights. There just isn't much to say. Let's go ahead and take it on to Dragon Quest of the Stars. I promised a first look last week, and now we can finally present one. Rana, what the heck is with this game?
Well, this game, first, it's interesting in that it seems to be internally developed. There are several companies listed when you launch the game, but the companies are basically Square Enix, the Dragon Quest company, and Toriyama Studio. There's no party like Alim or Gumi or Wonder Planet or something.
Okay.
It's just internally developed, yeah. And it is very Dragon Quest as a result.
I mean, that's not surprising. If you get the actual team doing it, it's going to feel like the actual games.
Yeah, and that very much does that to a T. So it's, as a result, it's a very Dragon Quest. Like, the series isn't exactly known from widely varying from one episode to the other of the main game, and that's no exception. You have the same looks for characters, the same kind of music, the same kind of equipment, the same sound effects and iconic monsters.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that we know about Toriyama's art, it all looks exactly the same.
Oh, I'll come back to that. But yes, very much so. And apparently, I haven't looked too much into the JP version, but it's interesting to note that apparently the JP launch was 5 years ago. The game still looks great to this day, but it's interesting to see how they're going to handle the release of content. So far, they don't seem to be overrushing it or anything like that, but I haven't looked at the content release schedule for JP, but Global definitely seems to be its own thing for now. So I'm curious about how that compares. And
so when you say its own thing, are you saying it has like are you saying it has like global exclusive stuff going on, or like what do you mean by that?
Not yet, I don't think. It's mostly that it seems they're releasing. I mean, if they released the events in the same time they did in JP, I don't see how that game's event release rate could have lasted 5 years, let alone 1. Because we already 3 games in an 11-game series so far.
Yikes. 11? Didn't 12 just release, or am I totally
no, wrong? It's 11.
It was 11, okay. Shows how much I pay attention to Dragon Quest.
The one that released recently was the port of 11 to the Switch.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of, okay.
Yeah. Which is very good, by the way.
So I hear. I just refuse to play it.
Makes sense.
Toriyama's art makes me borderline physically ill. Like, I hate it that much. It's a miracle that I like Chrono Trigger at all. And I love that game.
And strangely, the art wasn't the worst part of the 11 original release. The soundtrack was a thing.
I will say, the soundtrack to Dragon Quest has never really made me all that angry. I know Dragon Quest 8 even used like a live orchestra.
No, there's definitely reasons to be angry, but nothing that are really relevant to cover for Dragon Quest from the Stars.
Fair enough. How's the soundtrack in Quest of the Stars?
It's very Dragon Quest.
Boy, howdy, you're like, let's not talk about context. Okay, how's this? Context! Me. Okay, cool.
No, but what I mean by that is that it's the same kind of soundtrack they've had for, like, if not 11 games, but even at least 7 of them. And so it's a lot of simple tunes with trumpets going on left, right, and center.
Okay.
It's, like a lot of times, if you ask something, chances are the answer will be it's very Dragon Quest, because it's an internally developed mobile Dragon Quest game, and it's a series that hates change.
Yeah, that I could tell.
So, as far as the game actually plays,
okay,
you have a party of 3 characters you can customize. You can change really the facial features, the hairdo. You can make 3 Vegetas if you like. If you don't, good luck trying to do something else, because they're going to look like 3 Vegetas anyway.
I mean, it's Toriyama. This is unsurprising in the extreme.
Exactly. Like, one of my characters, I literally just named him Vegeta at this point. Might as well drop the pretense.
Yeah,
especially
you may as well.
Since I have this armor piece that has these shoulder pads that look like the Saiyan armor.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. As far as the battle system goes, your basic attacks are firing automatically, but as they do, you charge up skills, and you decide when to fire them. You can chain them together. Basically, for each of your 3 characters plus guest characters, you have the list of skills you can scroll in real time. Basically, it's like each skill has its own ATB.
Okay. That's that actually sounds fairly engaging. I'm actually reminded a little bit of Xenoblade.
Yeah, and since there's a lot of different skills you can acquire, because each piece of gear can put skills on your characters on top of the skills your character naturally have.
Oh dear.
you have a lot of choice, which is good because, as we know, in the difference between, say, Valkyrie Anatomia and FFBE, if you have more character customization choice, you have more room to make hard, engaging trails instead of just stat bricks you have to take a strike at.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So I can definitely see potential for depth there, which is good. Really, the only problem when it comes to the main battle system is that the UI looks strangely like a slot machine.
Oh no!
Because it doesn't work like one, thankfully, but it has these 4 columns with the symbols you can definitely align because they're similar depending on type.
I don't like this whole conditioning kids to like gambling thing. That's a problem.
I don't even think that's deliberate, but that's struck to me.
No, I mean, it may not be deliberate, but it was notable enough that you chose to bring it up in this, and that's automatically going to garner a reaction from me.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
And it's fair, because it really kind of looks like one anyway. If we...
Oh, yeah, that is notable. Oh, that is very slottish.
I'm glad it's not just me.
No, you're 100% right. That looks like a jackpot waiting to happen. Ooh. Oh no.
And like the interface makes sense when you're using it.
I believe that. No, I'm sure it's a perfectly usable AI. I'm just not thrilled with how it looks. I believe TV tropes would call this unfortunate implications.
Yes.
Okay, I would have argued this probably needed some revision if I were the producer on this thing. Like, maybe this isn't the way we want to go.
Yeah, I'm sure there are ways to tamper with it that wouldn't have the same kind of appearance to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to customize your characters via character classes. You've got several ones. I mean, they all start the same, which is basically the beginner class, and then you move to more specific roles which have more specialized weapon choices, and you can make them a warrior, a mage, or a priest, or a ranger, things like that.
Your, bog standard classes.
Yeah, with each has their passives and their actives, which are generally at the top of your skill choices. And you gain levels. Once you have enough levels in 2 of your classes, you can get an advanced class that has more weapon choice and a bit of a more unique flair to it. So there's plenty to do when it comes to progressing your characters and giving them both power and, once you've achieved max level in an advanced class, versatility.
Okay.
And a bit of power because the classes you obtain can give some passives that remain even for your new classes. And apparently there's a system to re-level a class for bonuses. That's not the kind of level I'm at right now. But yeah, there's plenty to do with progression.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like at least the progression's robust. Music is Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Skills are a thing.
Yeah,
this UI makes me angry.
You get skills from the character classes, of course, but the main source of skill is your equipment.
Right. You mentioned that before.
Yeah. Each equipment has a main skill that is upgradable but not removable, and several skill slots which you can use to either put in skills or leave those that are already there. You can put skills that are defined by type and grade. So like one slot is an attack skill of up to a B rank. and you have several slots. And the more you upgrade and evolve your weapons with duplicates, the more you have increase in the skill grades you can slot and the amount of slots you have. In a way, the progression of the equipment is kind of similar to Warriors Orochi game.
Oh, okay.
Except it's not all passives.
Interesting.
But you get the same system of upgrading your skills individually and slotting them in and destroying weapons to get the skills to fuse them in the weapon you actually want to use and likes.
This does sound familiar. I've been playing a lot of Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate, so...
Yeah. And of course, because the characters are persistent and customizable, the equipment is what you gacha for. It's an equipment gacha game.
Okay.
And every equipment piece, besides the accessories, is visible. You can see and have either full set or just partial pieces of armor. You have the weapon slot, the shield slot, head, torso, and pants. And everything in those 5 slots is always visible. Except if you choose to customize things to not show, because pretty early on you can unlock basically the ability to transmog.
Okay, I was about to say, because like the way this gear set thing described, I was looking at this going, this is going to look like you're going to be dressed in some wild stuff.
Yeah,
you're going to be looking like the worst of Redolent Rose's customers.
Exactly. No, thankfully you can customize things pretty early on to avoid looking like a level 34 warrior in fully leveling gear, just grabbing what they get left, right, and center.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, having cosmetic transmog on top of equipment is very, very solid. Like, that is always something I approve of.
Yeah, especially for the situation, because the weapon gacha, the equipment gacha is for individual pieces of equipment, and there are full sets. They don't, I think, provide set bonuses, but they look like where you have the full equipment set. So even if you don't have the full set, but you want the utility of the equipment pieces, you can at least not look like you stole gear from 3 different main characters. So, as far as the economics of it go, you get free currency coming through daily login bonuses.
Okay.
From some dungeon completion and from treasure map. Treasure maps are basically a set of missions. You get individual rewards for the mission and bonus reward for completing the full set. You have them tied to months, tied to event releases, and you have this weird system that's kind of reminiscent of the 3DS Street Pass, where you have special maps you have on you, and it geolocalizes you to seek other players and exchange maps with them. It's weird gimmicky thing.
This like sounds really weird and gimmicky. You're not wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, you get new maps pretty regularly, and that's honestly your main source of income, because the main dungeon progression is kind of slow. I mean, unless you're going way harder than me, which you can these days, because as a launch period bonus, the stages of the main story are half stamina cost. I mean that with the rank increases refilling your stamina completely, it's kind of hard to get empty stamina unless you're grinding the liquid metal stages for experience and the like.
Good
Lord. Oh yeah, This stage is that gives you enhancement materials and lots of experience and gold. You need keys to unlock those, which are also one of the rewards you get from the maps.
Okay. So let me distill this down to its most basic question, because you did... you were the one who chose to do the preview for us.
Yes.
Is this a fun game? Do you enjoy this?
I don't really. I'm not engaged. I see the potential. I see a lot of people that I could like it. Both Dragon Quest fans, which are clearly the main target,
right,
or just people that want an RPG mobile game that is very much a mobile gacha game and very much an RPG. There's a little main story where even the annoying mascot has his annoying mascot.
Oh God, why?
It's okay. The mascot's mascot doesn't talk. Because it's a tiny slime. Yeah, it's...
This is like Ricky having another smaller Ricky.
It really looks like Ricky. It's a sort of a weird, dumb squirrel thing.
Great.
But the slime is pretty cute. The slime is the best part, honestly. Because all it slays is slurp.
I mean, slimes in Dragon Quest are known for being rather cute, unnecessarily.
Unlike the squirrel thing, which talks for you a lot of the time in an annoying tone, because the main protagonist is obviously mute, because customizable.
Fair.
So, as far as pools go, you get the standard individual pools, ticket pools, and 10 pools with one bonus 5-star equipment piece guaranteed. You get a free pool a day on the actual banners, which is pretty neat, and a free 10+1 pool when a new banner releases. So overall, the game is actually pretty free-to-play friendly, I'd say.
Okay.
What's the highest rarity? You said there was a free 5-star. What's the highest rarity?
It's 5-star.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say I would definitely classify that as very free-to-play friendly.
Yeah. And the rewards you get are pretty generous. So for now, at least, there's no real need to grind to open up the wallet for a lot of gems. The event so far seems to be, hey, here's a Dragon Quest 3 event, so get it a gear that looks like the main character from Dragon Quest 3 in the banner, and kill Dragon Quest 3's villain in this event.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Why the main villain? Why not, like, parts of it? Because I feel like that would make it harder to reuse that game.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know how the returns happen, because the game in Global is still kind of new.
Okay, fair enough. I guess we will find out as we go.
And so far, I've only seen 2 events, which is this one, the Dragon Quest 3 one, and the previous one was the Dragon Quest 2 one, which was the exact same structure.
Okay, so at least to start with, they're pretty, like, consistent with how the events are run.
Yeah. Which is nice in a way, but also it makes you think that it's going to be a lot of time before they get to the games I actually played, which was mostly Dragon Quest 11. I did try a little bit of 4, but I didn't stick to it. So, the hard content can be done in multiplayer.
Oh, there's a multiplayer function, okay.
Yeah, you cooperate with 3 other party members. You choose which of your 3 ones you take with you to your party, and you get the stage done. You synchronize your attacks. There's, of course, stickers you can send, because Japanese games love their stickers. and you get drops at the end of the mission, which are influenced by luck, a stat that only works in multiplayer. The luck of the whole party is pulled up and determines bonus drops. For instance, as a new player for a month, you get a bonus of 50 luck. So if you have a full party of new players, which right now is everybody because the game is new,
right?
You have at least 200 luck.
Okay. That's...
we will... Yeah. And we will come back to the luck system later before you render your judgment of that.
Okay.
Because there are things.
All right. Well, that sounded like a capital T things, so let's hear them out.
Okay, so let's start with the things you can do with your real money. So, you can buy gems at the start, of course.
Of course.
Expected. That's a base.
It's premium currency. You pay into that sometimes. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. But of note, the non-premium currency has some uses you would expect premium currency to be used for. In particular, you have a crafting system for consumables and food that you can accelerate the crafting of, and you do that with gold and not with gems.
Okay, that's actually acceptable. Like that becomes part of the internal gameplay. Okay, I dig that.
Yeah, exactly. And right now, I don't know if it's a launch offer or a new player offer, but you can get your first pack of gem for much cheaper because they want to draw you in.
Of course.
And you can... basically, right now, you can get, I think it's 6,000 gems for $8, which nets you 2 full pools.
For $8?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty generous.
Yeah, especially since normally it's like $28 at full price.
Yeah, that's still for full pulls. For 2 full pulls, that's actually still pretty... That's pretty cheap on this market.
Yeah, no, the rates are pretty decent.
Okay.
And then you get the Star Pass.
Okay, here's our subscription by the sound of it.
Exactly. It's $10 a month, so same as Fire Emblem Heroes 1. But the first month is free.
Okay.
I didn't activate it deliberately because I didn't want to have it influence my experience, and I still played the game just fine, so that's good to know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But first month is free, and renewal is automatic, of course.
Of course it... Oh, wow. Renewal's automatic, huh? That's not an of course. That's actually...
you have to cancel it manually at the end of the month.
That's actually...
That's kind of scummy.
That's kind of scummy. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's actually like premium television model or phone contract. That's not what I usually see in gacha games. I'm not necessarily sure that's scummy since they are giving the first month for free. That's like the trial period thing. I get it, but like that's definitely a different business model than most games are.
I have to like it.
Fair enough. No. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. And when you subscribe to the Star Pass, you get several perks. One is that this luck stat, you get a bonus to that luck stat if you have a Star Pass active. So that gets you more drop when you are in multiplayer. For the whole party. You also have a free stamina refresher day. You have a free draw monthly.
Okay.
You have probably the most disputable part, which is enhancement to auto battle, which are mostly a convenience thing. But you get your first speed or fast forward unlocked behind this paywall, and you get smart targeting of metal monsters and the ability to use skills as part of your auto battle locked behind the subscription as well.
Okay, that sounds like Valkyrie at that point. That's actually very similar.
Very similar indeed. And you have also more equipment to quick swap your gear, which is useful especially in cases where your characters have several classes and you want to change your full party composition depending on what enemy you're facing.
Right.
And if you subscribe for 3 months, you get a second free pool as a bonus to basically, if you stay subscribed continually, you get a bit more perks once every few months.
Ooh, this subscription model, the more I hear about it, the more I hate it.
Yeah. And there's a milder version, which is the Star Adventurer Passport, which you get not with money directly, but with paid gems, which is money slightly indirectly. And it's basically a 2 weeks version of the pass with the same UI modification, but no stamina refresh. The free draw is only 5 chests and not the full 10. You get 2 swap slots instead of 4. It's the died version of the subscription, basically. And,
okay.
And the perhaps strangest part of the subscription is that you need to be on the subscription to be authorized to purchase essentially the fountain of gems.
What?
You can get the daily drip of gems at a discount, but only if you are part of the subscription model.
And I assume there's an extra surcharge on that one.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
You still have to pay for the fountain, but you only can pay if you already have the subscription model.
So you're already $10 deep, and then they want more for the currency.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what I'm hearing from an outside perspective. This game is very free-to-play friendly, but they will make you pay through the nose if you actually choose to play. If you actually choose to pay.
It's it seems like it's one of the games where the 3 tiers of player are the most clearly defined. Like, if you want to be free to play, you can be free to play and play the game.
Right.
If you want to be a dolphin, you will pay for the subscription plus the fountain of gems, and plus the occasional gem deal, and that's exactly what you're going to do, period. And if you lose on any of those, you lose on more than just. Essentially, you need the full package to be a full dolphin, or you're only getting part of what you could get for the kind of investment you want to get.
Right.
And if you want to go full whale, you can go full whale if you need all 3 of your characters to have the full set of equipment on every banner.
Yeah, I'm not... here's the thing, like, my instinct is revulsion, but because you said it was so free-to-play friendly, and because you said it was very, very playable without paying in, I'm not sure I should be as angry, because it's not... I mean, they are paywalling content with the subscription, which bothers me.
Yeah, I think the most free-to-play friendly part of it all isn't even the individual prices and free pools or anything. It's the fact that at the end of the day, it's an equipment gacha. The people are less attached to the characters' equipment as they are to the characters themselves.
Right. And since you're going to get the characters anyway, and then if you want the specific, like, characters from the Dragon Quest games, you can get their equipment from these events.
Yeah, and you don't need the full set of armor to get any set bonus, because that would go against the Japanese complete gacha laws.
Right. So, okay. Yeah, I feel like this is mitigated. I feel like there's a lot to be angry about, but it's not a case like in Anatomia where it's like a hard paywall. They just don't care about free-to-play players at all.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a lot more reasonable for free-to-play players to play and enjoy the game without feeling like they're missing out on significant content.
And there's a lot to enjoy, especially if you are a Dragon Quest fan.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe this one gets the official seal of not that bad.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to persist in this game, but I'm not running away from it and deleting it as soon as I can. And I don't regret having tested it, and I think it's a nice way to open up the idea for this podcast to test a new game every now and then and see what's going on.
Fair enough.
Yeah, definitely sounds like a not that bad from Rana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a solid not that bad award.
I think the biggest takeout, besides it's a Dragon Quest game, is that there is a video game behind that, which is not a given for a lot of gacha games.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
And video games are nice.
Video games are nice, especially now that we're all trapped indoors.
Indeed.
Very much.
Trapped indoors and consuming even more YouTube and Twitch content, which is our topic of the day. Not the consumption of it, but the creation of it.
So, for those of you who don't know, I used to stream FFBE, and I do now stream Arknights. And man, that is a process. So, I'm going to just bring out this little series of contraptions here. So, we have this guy, which is a lightning cable to HDMI. We have this guy, which is an HDMI splitter. And what this does is it strips out the HDCP protections. For those of you watching on stream...
yes, tell us what is an HDCP protection while you are holding this beautiful plate of spaghetti.
Yeah, it does look like a plate of spaghetti. Anyway, so HDCP is... I forget its actual name. HDCP is basically a copyright protection on digital output. This is a big problem on PlayStation 4 and streaming that, and it is a huge problem on Android phones because it has that built in and I can't turn it off. So what the splitter does is actually...
I heard about that on PlayStation 4 with the whole you can't stream/record this section. I didn't know that was a problem on phones.
Yes, it is a program. It is a problem on phones. In PlayStation, I could turn that off. There is turning off HDCP, and while it won't let you record during those segments, if you're still just streaming it from the HDMI output, it doesn't care. That said, the HDMI splitter I have strips out the HDCP and lets me just plug my phone right in and stream that. So anytime you see me playing the game, I'm playing it on my actual hardware, which is a lot better than trying to make a hardware accelerated emulator. Because that is hit or miss at the extreme. Emulation is touchy.
It's like the best game to stream screens. What's on a screen is to just stream what's on a screen.
Yeah, exactly. So this is just one of many things that people who stream these games have to worry about. Equipment is a thing. Like, all of that goes into my capture card, which is, like, that's what I was holding there was probably about $100 worth of gear, which isn't stupidly expensive, but it adds up.
Yeah.
Especially the setup time. To get started, you have a pretty fair barrier to entry.
Yeah. And that also brings up another factor, and I don't think people understand this, is the actual, like, mental process of streaming, especially a gacha game. You have to understand and have a plan for what it is you are doing going into this.
Yeah, because a lot of time when you're playing a gacha game, you're not really doing anything besides a bit of a farm.
Right, exactly. So going into, like, a game like Arknights especially, that is a lot of content you do automatically or repeat content. It's hard to stream unless you go into a plan in advance, and usually you're cutting yourself off at the knees by doing so. I have been making it a point to stream Chapter 5 and my Lungman Downtown Annihilation attempts all by myself with no, all on stream with no off-stream content. That means I'm not getting a lot of work done off-stream because I have to do it on stream. And that's the sacrifice you end up having to make. And that happens a lot. I've made it a point not to do that with polls, because what happened to me in FFBE, and one of the main reasons I quit, is when you start doing polls on stream, audiences expect you to do them on stream. That means you have to have the resources to do those polls on stream. What happens if you don't have that resource before the stream? Well, you hit that shiny little buy button and you get those resources.
Yeah. And there's several other trials. There's the fact that sometimes you get bits thrown your way, and that makes you feel like you're not really paying for the pools, the audience is.
Yeah.
There's the fact that you have to hold back until the stream, which is annoying for units you're really excited for. On the contrary, if there's a banner you're absolutely not excited for, but the audience is, you kind of feel pressure to pulls on units you don't even like.
That was the case with me and Elena, the CG at the time global exclusive unit. In fact, pulling on her was one of the big reasons I quit, because I ended up spending like $200 on her just for the stream. And I had to stop after that and totally reconsider where I was as a streamer and why I was doing that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really want the unit. I didn't need her.
Yeah.
But the stream expected me to pull for her, so I had to.
Yeah, there's a lot of expectation going on, piling up, and I can see this building to a bit of a pressure at times. I know that I follow Clake's stream a lot for FFBE, even though he's diversifying, especially this day with the 7 Deadly Sins Gacha game.
Yes, by the way, we will be talking about 7 Deadly Sins at some point.
Great.
Point that out.
And there was a time where he really had to scale back on the spending. And that was, I mean, from a viewer's perspective, you don't really think about what goes behind the resource gathering that mostly happens on off stream for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Because why would you want to risk doxing yourself and your credit card information?
I have accidentally done that once. I got so frustrated with the pull, I just hit the buy button, and you could see briefly my email address, my real name, and the last four of that of my card. That card is dead.
That's a very big oof.
That is a very big oof.
Yes.
That card is dead. Don't try to use it. I'm pretty sure that VOD is dead. Don't bother.
Probably.
And thankfully my email is fine. But like, yeah, I've done that to myself. I was just so frustrated that I wasn't getting a thing on stream that I didn't blank out the stream, and I just hit the buy button and the one tap buy, and you could see that information.
Yeah.
It is bad for your mental health to stream this thing if you're not prepared and don't have an actual plan going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned that plan mostly for the content, but having a plan for the pools and being able to just flat out say, I'm not excited for the banner that's not even out yet, I'm not going to pool for it.
Yeah.
It's a bit taxing, I imagine.
It's incredibly taxing, because now you're dealing with an audience who largely are strangers to you. They have these expectations of you, and you risk, when you say, I don't really want to pull on this banner, you risk them going, this guy's lame, who cares? And you lose that audience. Building a core audience as a streamer in general, especially when you're a variety streamer like I am, is hard.
No kidding.
Like, I am a small-time guy. I rarely get 20. That is a rare day when I get 20 people, and it's almost always when I play these gacha games, and it's almost always when I do, like, these crazy, crazy things.
Yeah, and I don't think you've pulled for Arknight on stream. Was it deliberate?
Very, very much so. For a variety of reasons. One, Arknights doesn't really encourage hard pulling. The way it's designed, it really likes scattershot pulling. And secondly, again, experience with Brave Exvius and Valkyrie Anatomia especially. I spent way too much money on that game. audience expectations for those games were gigantic and they needed you to pull. And if I just go, no, I am not pulling, I am just doing content, deal with it, that does limit my core audience, but it also prevents me from falling into that trap of, well, the audience needs me to pull, so I have to pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds very fair.
Yeah.
And I think there's another aspect that probably affects you on some degree, and it's that I feel, as a viewer in particular, there's this thing when you streaming the pools, and you're streaming pools regularly, and you play in on a level that demands a certain amount of resource investment, you're essentially encouraging people to whale for things.
Correct.
Which can target you if you're not really into... if you can have this worry that you're encouraging people to get in on this gambling treadmill.
Yeah. There was one case that happened, and it turned into a unit that I liked, but there was one case that happened during Lunar New Year where I did a 10+1 ticket pull, a total just EX scattershot. It was a free pull, and I got the Wonder Twins.
No.
This was before there were blank prisms, so I'm like, oh, the audience watched me do this. Now I have to pull. Crap. Yeah, it worked out that time, but oh man, it is hard for me to look back at that moment and go, what was I doing?
I think it's the same kind of energy that having a big beer in your hand and 20 people around you yelling, chug, 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 chug.
Yeah. Exactly. So as a content creator, as a streamer, these pulls, they are big business. Because they will bring in the audience. You put in that thing, big pulls on banner. People will come in to watch that. And that will have the serious risk of wrecking you, wrecking your wallet, wrecking your mental health. And in my case, basically spoiling gacha games in general for a good 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's like pack opening TCGs. Yeah, no, exactly. It's the exact same thing. 100%. Or loot box opening in Overwatch.
I mean, there's a reason we talk about TCGs every now and then in this podcast, because they're gachas.
They are exactly a gacha game. They're painted slightly differently, but they're exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to any of you listening to this who want to stream, I encourage you. Unless you know for a fact going into it that you're going in full whale, do not stream your pulls. It is incredibly dangerous to your mental health.
Set hard limits and stick to them.
Yes.
Sometimes it can be frustrating, but frustration is part of the business model.
It is.
Yes.
It absolutely is. And if you aren't willing to accept that, you are in deep trouble.
I think personally as a player, I keep playing the games I play because, one, I still like to play them. If I stop liking them, I stop playing them. And two, I can completely blank out on a banner and not pull the trigger and take out my wallet.
Yeah, exactly.
The moment I'm unable to resist this is the moment I'm going to use the nuclear option on my phone.
Yep, and I had to do that at least once. I would absolutely have preferred it. If this $100 and something I spent for this whole setup was the only money I really spent, significant at least, on a game like Brave Exvius. If I was able to limit myself to just the Fountain of Lapis, fine. Arknights, I spent $1 on a cool tank, and $5 twice on a monthly card, and that has been it.
Yeah.
Limit yourselves. Take it from a guy who has spent thousands of dollars in these games and has lived to truly regret it.
And as part of the audience myself mostly, if you in a chat or in a YouTube comment section and somebody is for instance, telling they're not interested in something or they're not pulling in something, try to be understanding.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate to leave a message, to reassert that it's okay, it's cool, we're here for the main meat of the content, the gameplay and all that. It probably will help a content creator you like feel this tiny bit less pressured into doing things they might feel cornered to keep their livelihood up by spending part of this livelihood, paradoxically.
Yeah. This is a frustrating genre. It is doubly frustrating for someone who does this in public, because most of the time the public does not have your best interest in heart, and they just want to see the big pulls, and they just want to see the big, like, risks.
Yeah, people can't take that risk themselves necessarily, and but they like to see, other people taking that risk. They feel like they can live kind of vicariously through them, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what brings in a lot of viewers sometimes.
If a streamer is going to ask, I don't know, I have already 3 of this unit, I could try a pull, but maybe I shouldn't. What should I do, audience?
What do you think they're going to say?
Always say yes.
Going to say, yes, do these exciting things with something that isn't my money.
Exactly. So I encourage you, guys, take it from a guy who's done this the wrong way, and now I'm finally doing it the right way. Watch yourselves, pay attention, and unless you are 100% prepared for it, do not pull on stream. Don't do it.
If you have a little freedom to do so every now and then, take care of those that create content you enjoy.
Yes, indeed. That is all the time we have for this episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be back next time with more of the games you love to hate. Thank you so much.
Ha 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 ha!
Now I get it.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.